We've been looking at poems this last week, and today's focus, we're actually going to be talking about lamenting poems. And I thought it'd be a really helpful idea to actually start our day, our devotion, on looking at some examples of some lamenting poems from the Bible. You might be asking yourself, what is a lament? It's a word we don't often use in our usual vocabulary. There's actually a book of the Bible called Lamentations, and this book is full of what we call lamenting. There's also a book in the Bible called Psalms, which is a collection of 150 different poems and songs expressing people's faith. Today we're going to be focusing on the Psalms and looking at some of these lamenting ideas. So what is lamenting, as you might ask? The way how I would describe it is expressive sorrow. And what do I mean by that? You're giving lots of information about why you are sad. Here my sad person is. We all go through tough times in our life, and it's great to see from the Bible examples of people that are feeling the same way that we might be feeling today, or maybe the way we felt a month ago or a year ago. Times when we've been really sad, people have felt those same emotions since the very creation of the world. So our focus really is taking our pain to God. God wants us, He desires for us to communicate, to share our feelings and talk to Him about how we're feeling. And if we just bottle it all up inside and we don't pray and give it to God, then we're holding on to it when we don't need to. We can give it to God, and He wants to hold it for us. He wants to carry our pain. And that's why He died for us on the cross. So we're going to read Psalm 10. Some people sometimes disagree with who wrote different sections of the Bible. Some people say King David wrote lots of the Psalms. Sometimes people think other people maybe wrote it on his behalf. So sometimes, just because we're not 100% sure on some of them are more clear than others, I'm for now just going to call them the psalmist. I know it's PS, so just think of it as a silent P, so the psalmist. And the psalmist wrote this in the language of Hebrew. So we've actually lost the language of Hebrew. We don't know what it sounds like now in 2021. The language has been reinvented, and now people speak Hebrew, especially in the country of Israel. And people can learn how to speak Hebrew, but we don't really know what it originally sounded like. So it's been translated into English here. So if things don't rhyme, or you can't quite see how it's a poem, then just keep that in mind of remembering this isn't the original language it was written in. So Psalm 10, let's see how the psalmist explained why they were sad and how they gave it to God. And let's see how it makes it a poem. 2 for 1, devotion and writing lesson into one. Lucky you. Why, Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? And now I think it's going to be talking not about God, but about the situation the psalmist is in. In his arrogance, the wicked man hunts down the weak who are caught in the schemes he devises. He boasts about the cravings of his heart. In his pride, the wicked man does not seek him. In all his thoughts, there is no room for God. His ways are always prosperous. Your laws are rejected by him. He sneers at all his enemies. He says to himself, nothing will ever shake me. He swears no one will ever do me harm. His mouth is full of lies and threats. Trouble and evil are under his tongue. So just pause there. So we're getting someone who's very arrogant, which means they're very proud and they think nothing can go wrong for them, and they think that they are the best. They are their own God. They don't need God. Instead here, they don't have room for God. He thinks that nothing will shake them or do them harm. But we know, as a fact, all humans go through harm. We all suffer somehow. So this person is, in an arrogant way, wrong. They will find harm in what's going to happen when they have rejected God in their lives. He lies in wait near the villages. From ambush, he murders the innocent. His eyes watch in secret for his victims. Like a lion in cover, he lies in wait. He lies in wait to catch the helpless. He catches the helpless and drags them off in his net. Again, in this psalm, in this poem, we're not really finding any rhyming here, but we are seeing lots and lots of creativity and imagination and metaphors and similes. So let's look at it. So saying that saying that he murders his victims. Well, maybe he doesn't actually murder them, because then he would probably go to jail and get caught. So maybe it's sort of a metaphor of how he's treating innocent people. It's as if he was killing them, but really he's just, being mean. And then, like a lion, we have a simile. And he catches them off in a net. So then again, it's saying he does do it. So then it's again a metaphor. Then it says his victims are crushed, they collapse, they fall under his strength. He says to himself, God will never notice. He covers his face and never sees. That's what the man thinks that God does, but we know that that's not true. Arise, Lord, lift up your hand, O God. Do not forget the helpless. So we've now finished our section of the person who's really upset them. And I don't know if you felt this way. I know I definitely have. When you feel like someone who's really treated you the wrong way, it seems like they're not going to get in trouble. It seems like no one will catch them, or, justice won't happen. But we know that justice will happen, whether it's now or later, or even when we all die and we go to heaven. There will be consequences for the things that people do that they do wrong. Reading from verse 13 onwards. Why does the wicked man revile, revel God, which means you hate them. Why does he say to himself, he won't call me to account? But you, God, see the trouble of the afflicted. You consider their grief and take it in hand. The victims commit themselves to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked man. Call the evildoer to account for his wickedness. That would not otherwise be found out. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations will perish from his land. You, Lord, hear the desire of the afflicted. You encourage them and you listen to their cry, defending the fatherless and oppressed, so that merely earthly mortals will never again strike terror. Earthly mortals just means like humans. So saying, God, I'm so sad, I'm so upset at the way people have treated me. Take it away from me and make it so that this never happens again is basically what that's saying. So again, very poetic. And this poem was written, some people think it was written about 1,000 years before Jesus was born. So this is 3,000 years ago is how long this poem was written ago. How amazing is that? Let's maybe see an example of another poem that's not a lament. This poem from the Bible is from the section called Psalm 23, and people are a bit more confident this one was written by King David. And it says this one's not a lament. This is just a joyful poem. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of the righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. How amazing is that? So that was a bit more similar to maybe the section from verse 12 onwards, whereas the first bit was definitely a lament, wasn't it? What I'm wanting you to do for this session is write your own lamenting psalm about some things that have been tough in your life. So again, we're writing a poem. Yeah, lamenting psalm just means writing a poem about, it's a weird looking M, about something sad in your life, right? So what's something that's happened to you? Maybe you might need to think back from a few weeks ago, a few months ago, a couple of years ago. I don't really mind, as long as you're writing the psalm in the mindset of how you felt in that time. Maybe it's today. Maybe this is how you're feeling right now. So I've given it a go, and I've tried to think of a time when I felt lonely, and I've shown my loneliness, so as an example, COVID, not getting to see my friends, and feeling like, life it's been a bit tricky, and it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We have this little section here where I've really tried to show that feeling in a poetic way. So let's quickly read it. So I've said, "Why, Lord, do you turn your face from me? Why do you seem so far away? The dragon shows his teeth. There is no escape from his clutch." So in my mind, the dragon that I was thinking of is the restrictions and how we are trapped at home. I can't leave unless I'm going on a walk. Things like that. Just, maybe we have to do it and it's safe for everyone to do that, but that's how I feel. My eyes grow weary as I watch for him to leave. His friends circle around, and there is no sign of the torment finishing. Torment just means like horrible things that are happening. The well has dried up, and cracks of mud remain. The clouds refuse to shed their coat. No sign, I think that's meant to be an N, of my thirst being quenched. So I'm saying like the well that's meant to be full of water is gone. Like all my energy is sapped out because I've been on my computer all the time. Though you, Lord, are my rock and my foundation. This is like my Psalm 23, trying to be really positive and remember the truth. Your mighty arms are hidden, yet will save me when the time is right. You will continue to guard me from the beast. Your ever-flowing bowl will refill the well. I will be energized again, and I just need to give it to God. Amen. That's my prayer. And that's my psalm. So I look forward to hearing and reading your psalms that you write. All the best.